Yeah, so when I first met Abby, she was very much concerned about herself and her looks, and just those inward type things that aren't really focused on other people.
As a mum, I noticed when Abby went through a bit of a rebellious time through her teenage years, and she just seemed a lot more self-centred and a lot more closed off to other people and uncaring.
I was in denial for a long time. I just didn't want it to be me, so I thought if I just was strong-willed enough to believe that I was fine, it would go away, but it didn't. It just got extreme to the point where my body could handle a lot more alcohol than it could have when I was a teenager. But I was one of those people that when you drink, I would drink so much that I wouldn't vomit, I would just black out. Which, by the way, aren't like me passing out. It's more like no one would know that I was experiencing a blackout because I'd just go into robot mode and I'd still talk and still drink and still be Abby, but I wouldn't be registering it in my head. And that got really scary because I wasn't in control anymore and I didn't like the Abby that they were telling me I was. It was awful. One part of my life, I remember drinking so much that I can't account for 5 hours of my life, and I just came to with people shaking me, strangers I didn't know, asking who I was and where I was from. That was a bit scary. It wasn't until I was in Africa, and this Africa trip was supposed to be Abby saving the world sort of thing. But I got really sick when I was there, and I just felt really low. I felt like I hit rock bottom. I wasn't sure what I was living for anymore. And I asked God to cut. I said, God, can you please cut the things off my life with your big pair of giant God scissors? The things that are stopping me from stepping into your plan for my life.
I noticed when she started going to church and she started to change. She had a purpose that wasn't all wrapped up in herself. She became more caring. And when she started following Jesus, I noticed that compassion for others came back, much more gracious in her nature and loving towards others.
About 3 weeks after I got back from Africa, a friend invited me to church. And when the pastor got up to share his message, he brought a pot plant on stage with him. He started cutting off the dead branches on the pot plant and saying, this is what God will do if you give him permission. You know, he'll trim the areas of your life that aren't producing fruit and, you can stay connected to him. I was like, oh my goodness, this is what I just prayed in Africa, asking God to cut areas of my life that weren't within his plan. And I just knew then that this was Jesus' way of pursuing me and actually showing me Abby, if you don't get it now, here it is. This is what I'm doing in your life. I'm here for you.
I see Jesus through the way she loves other people, through even her social media use and the way she just passionately pursues her dreams. Yeah.
After feeling pursued by Jesus, there was a guy who I met at the gym, and he started pursuing me in a very similar way, which obviously spoke to my heart. I'm someone who kind of needs to be, I guess, chased a little bit. And wow, the way that God has woven our love story is incredible. It's something I don't deserve, but God's chosen to bless me with Scotty for whatever reason, and even Scotty's journey coming to discover who Jesus is, and now watching his personal relationship with Jesus blossom. I have no doubt in my mind that God has orchestrated the whole thing. I didn't need to be perfect before I went to Jesus. Jesus asked me to come to him as I was, and then he helped me, become, I guess, more like him in some ways. Yeah, having Jesus in my life it's produced so much fruit, just like my pastor said. it would staying connected to him, and yeah, it's really cool.